They told you stay quiet, stay small, stay manageable. They built a cage out of expectations, tied it shut with guilt, and called it normal. But something in you never sat right. You were never meant to bend, you were born to break the damn system. They tried to teach you submission, but you studied the cracks in their rules instead. You watched, learned, and waited. And when the time came, you didn't just step out of the box. You lit it on fire and walked away smiling. You were never built for mediocrity. That itch in your bones, that defiance in your blood, that wasn't rebellion, it was instinct. You weren't supposed to blend in. You were supposed to disrupt. And oh, how you did. Not with noise, not with chaos, but with presence, but with results. With that dangerous calm that makes the whole room stop breathing when you enter. They used to laugh. Now they listen. They used to mock. Now they mimic. Because you didn't just change the game, you rewrote the rules. Every time they underestimated you, they handed you a blueprint, a reason, a trigger. They thought rejection would shrink you. It expanded you. They thought failure would humble you. It focused you. They thought isolation would break you. It trained you. And now, you don't ask to be understood. You dare them to keep watching, because you don't move for approval anymore. You move like someone who knows they're unstoppable. You're not here to fit in. You're here to remind them what it looks like when a soul decides to stop apologizing for being powerful. You didn't survive to play polite. You endured to dominate. And now you walk through their fears like a living answer to every doubt they ever had. You were never the problem. You were the glitch in their control. And they'll never fix what was sent here to shatter the system. They built their world on quiet compliance, and you walked in with a war drum in your chest. You weren't born to salute, you were born to lead invasions. The moment you stopped chasing their approval was the moment everything shifted. You stopped explaining your fire and started feeding it. They told you to be humble while they hid their envy, told you to be patient while they stalled your rise. But you learned not all delays are setbacks. Some are just the silence before the quake. And you are the quake, the disruption, the inconvenient truth they wish they could erase. Because you remind them of everything they're not brave enough to become. They see your strength and call it arrogance. They see your clarity and call it crazy. But deep down, they know they're watching something uncontainable. Something that refused to be edited, diluted, or managed. Something that got tired of sitting at the table and built a kingdom instead. You didn't break the rules just to rebel. You broke them because they never made room for someone like you. And now they want to ask, who do you think you are? But the real question is, who did they think you'd stay? A whisper? A background player? A footnote in their narrative? No, you were the main event disguised as a threat. The storm they tried to ignore until it flooded everything they thought was secure. So now when you walk, the ground remembers. The silence before you speak is louder than their noise. You're not fighting to be seen anymore. You've already become unmissable. You didn't rise to prove them wrong. You rose because your soul got tired of pretending it didn't belong in the sky. You were never meant to bend. You were born to break what was never built to contain you. And now the world doesn't just see the change, you are the change. And no system survives when the blueprint decides to burn itself and start again. They thought the system was sacred, untouchable, a monolith too big to shake. But then you came uninvited, unbothered, and unbreakable. You didn't ask for permission, you tore through tradition. You didn't wait to be chosen, you declared yourself inevitable. And when they saw you standing there, unshaken by their silence, unscarred by their labels, they panicked. Because nothing terrifies the architects of the system more than someone who no longer believes in the blueprint. You learned the game only to flip the board. While they fought for seats at the table, you were out carving your name into the stone walls of history. Not to be accepted, but to be etched in permanence. You stopped trying to be liked the day you realized respect hits harder. You stopped performing when you realized you were the stage itself. And now, they're scrambling trying to understand how someone like you emerged from their chaos with power in your walk and purpose in your grin. You are not their rules. You are the response. The result of every lie they told. Every door they slammed. Every time they said you're too much, and you turned it into a weapon. Now your existence is resistance. Your presence is pressure. You don't even have to speak, your aura reminds them of everything they tried to silence. And the irony? They gave you that power. When they rejected you, they released you, and you've never looked back. You weren't made to play the part, they couldn't handle the script. You outgrew the cage, broke the locks, burned the map, and now with every move you make, you leave ashes in your wake. You didn't just survive the system, you became the reason it's crumbling. And while they scramble to rebuild, you're already on to the next level. Because once you stop bending, once you break free, there's no going back. Only forward, only up, only through. They can't replicate what you did because they were never built for war, they were built for comfort, for applause, for structure. You were built for chaos, for the edge, for the wild truth that no one wanted to hear. And now, they stand in line rehearsing the script, still waiting for validation, while you write your own legend in scars and stone. You didn't escape the system, you exposed it. Made it bleed, made it stutter. Made it watch as you turned everything meant to cage you into fuel. You are no longer reacting, you're setting the tone. No longer waiting for the tides to turn, you are the storm they never planned for. The system didn't fail you, it created you. Every rejection, every betrayal, every time they told you you're too intense, too loud, too much, they were accidentally molding a threat. And now you carry that energy with elegance, precision, controlled fury that walks like poetry and hits like prophecy. You don't wear titles, you wear proof. You walk in rooms and shift gravity, not because you want to dominate, but because your presence is a reminder that freedom doesn't come from fitting in. It comes from breaking out. You found your strength in the ashes, found your truth in the tension. You stood in front of everything that was supposed to defeat you and smiled. Because now the game is different. You're not chasing power, you are the power. You're not surviving anymore. You're setting fire to every rule that was never written with someone like you in mind. And the world, it's watching. Because once you stop trying to belong in systems never built for your kind of brilliance, you don't just lead. You redefine what power looks like. You became everything they swore you couldn't. Not just because you had to, but because you wanted to see what happened when the cage breaker grew wings. They tried to label you rebellious, difficult, dangerous, and you wore it all like armor. Because deep down you knew they weren't scared of your rage, they were scared of your clarity. You saw through it, all of it, the fake rules, the false gods, the glass ceilings wrapped in compliments. And instead of playing along, you broke protocol with a grin and turned your back on their illusions. You didn't rise by chance. You rose through choice, through grit, through the kind of discipline they don't teach. You trained in the dark where no one was watching, bled in silence, lost everything they said you'd need, then realized you were the only thing you ever needed. And now, they watch you walk into the light they gatekept and wonder how you got here. They'll never understand that your path wasn't built for visibility, it was carved through fire, solitude, and soul. What scares them most now is your peace, that unshakable calm. The way you no longer argue, beg, or explain. Because when someone knows their power, they don't need to flex it, they become it. You don't bark. You don't chase. You move like destiny. Quiet, exact, unstoppable. And that's when they finally realize the system didn't create you. The struggle did. The exile did. The silence built you. And now you don't knock on doors anymore, you rip the hinges off and walk through. You're not here to fit their mold. You're here to melt it, to remind them that real power doesn't ask for permission. It walks in, rewrites the blueprint, and dares the world to catch up. You were never meant to bend. You were sent to break the system and build a legacy that can't be ignored. Like, comment, and subscribe.